My name is Eliza, and today I'm presenting my Python 2 final project. So my idea was I made a board game. It was like a scribboard game. Like I had a plan. This was a plan, and I actually did it in for my Python 1 project. But I actually really love board games, and I actually thought it could be better. So I improved it this time and made it into 2.0. So in class, we learned about a lot of lists and functions of dictionaries and other stuff. And in my project, I used two lists and functions. So first one is a list. I use lists to keep track of different variables of each player. Like you would have money and then two lists. I'm going to show that later in the code. And also you have functions, which is just you can use them to like do stuff and you don't have to repeat the large chunk of code every time. So this is code example one, my lists. So as you can see, I have half star, half a position, and money. Skip turn all of these in lists. So you don't we can keep track of the variables for both players and not just one.
Um,
Also, we have function.
yeah, I actually have a question for the last slide. So
Uh-huh.
if you wanted to make it a game that's multiplayer for four players, how would you change your variables, your list variables?
Well, you just have to use you just have to make more places in the list. So you
Mhm.
have false, 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 or zero, 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 zero. So that's four variables for four different like players.
Okay.
And the next one would be functions. So functions was so like I talked before, you don't have to use it. This is for adding money. So I can just put the square and I can just put the square, how much money to add and whose money it is, and then they can get the money. And instead of just writing this every time.
And how many functions did you have in your program in total?
Well, I had three. So one with this one and one with welcome, and the other one with shop.
Okay, nice.
So these are like pictures from my demo, and see, this is like the stuff, and this is the code. And now I'm gonna go into VS Code and start my demo. So as you can see, it starts with a small intro down here. Let me full screen it. So as you can see, it says player one is at square one. Your role is three, and then your position at square four. It tells you what whose player it is and where they are, what their role is, and where they move to. And then next player, and then again, and then it switches between players. And now they landed on money square, so they have 10 coins. And then blah blah blah. It keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. And now look, you landed on the shop. You can try to buy something, but it says you don't have enough money, so you can continue. And and you see, I also added some falling off and like skipping squares. And it continues until someone wins, like here, player two wins.
Nice.
So my favorite part with working on this project was actually figuring out the variable who turn, because to actually get the while loop to switch between the players, it was pretty hard, and that was actually because last time I actually really wanted to make it multiplayer, but I didn't get the chance. And this time I used lists and the variable who turn to make like it better, and I really liked it because it like made us to like think abstractly because you see who turn would be like zero or one because that was the list places. So if you want to switch between them, you do who turn equals one minus who turn because one minus zero is like one, and then one minus one is zero. So that's really smart way of switching between them. And how would I like to improve my project? If I were to continue working on my project, I would add that I already added multiplayer and that was on my list last time. I would definitely add more items to the shop. I didn't really have time this time, but maybe in the future. And checking inventory. So this time we only have half star and half food. We'll check if you have one. So you couldn't really buy two of them, like two of the same thing. Also, I would make more special tiles. Maybe a tile that switch places, or maybe a tile that stole items. And thank you so much for listening to my presentation.